It's amazing how often our listeners point us towards these really cool trends. And lately, we get a lot of messages about, positivity and
Mhm.
specifically about using journaling to like cultivate a more positive mindset.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like everyone's trying to figure out how to like actually make that work, you know?
Totally. And it reminded me of when we were looking at Listallion journals a while
Oh,
back
yeah, right.
because they actually have a journal specifically designed for this exact thing.
Huh. For positivity journaling, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I was thinking for this deep dive, we should take a look at, I don't know, what do you think about like really exploring how this journaling thing, especially with a journal that's made for it, can actually change how you think?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome. So we pulled some info from the Journal Notebook for Positivity Listallion page.
Okay, cool.
And it basically starts with this idea of, well, like having a dedicated space, a journal, to just focus on the good stuff.
Right. Like intentionally creating a place where you're only thinking about the positive.
Exactly. So I guess the first question is like, how does that actually work?
Yeah.
The page talks about journaling being therapeutic.
Oh, yeah.
Like it clears your head and helps you focus. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
almost like taking all the thoughts swirling around.
All the clutter.
Yeah, and getting them out on paper so you can, I don't know, breathe a little easier.
It's true. I mean, writing stuff down, it's not just like passively remembering, it's more like actively engaging with it,
I would
right?
say so, yeah.
And so when you're writing about positive experiences, it kind of starts to train your brain to look for those things, you know?
Like it makes you better at being positive.
Exactly. It's called neuroplasticity. Basically, the more you focus on something, the stronger those neural pathways get.
Huh. So it's not just about like feeling good in the moment. It's actually like building a habit of seeing the good stuff.
Right. And that can help counteract all those negative thoughts that tend to stick around, you know?
The negativity for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of, the site really stresses the importance of gratitude in this whole process.
Okay, so how does that fit in?
Well, gratitude's all about shifting your focus from what you're missing to what you already have, right?
So instead of thinking about what's wrong, you're thinking about what you're thankful for.
Yeah. And whether it's through specific prompts or just writing freely, that regular reminder to be grateful can make a huge difference in how you feel.
Interesting. And they also talk about affirmations.
Oh, yeah, those are powerful.
Remind me what those are again.
Affirmations are basically positive statements you tell yourself, like little pep talks to build confidence and keep you feeling hopeful.
Like mantras almost.
Kind of, yeah. And this is where I think a journal like the Listallion can really shine, you know? Those 211 pages of thick, smooth paper.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that. It sounds so
Ugh.
nice to write on.
Right, but it's more than just that. Think about it. When writing feels good, when the pen just glides and there's no bleed through, it makes you want to use the journal more.
Yeah, you're not fighting with it every step of the way.
Exactly. So you're more likely to make it a habit, to use it to capture those moments of gratitude and write down your affirmations.
I see. It's like having the right tool makes the job easier.
And more enjoyable, too.
It's like I have this friend, Mark. He's always been super hard on himself, tons of negative self-talk.
Oh, wow.
But he started using a Listallion journal for gratitude. He specifically picked it because he loved how the paper felt.
That's awesome.
And he was telling me, even on days when he felt like there was nothing to be grateful for, just the act of writing in that journal, like the feeling of the pen on the paper, it gave him this little spark of positivity.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and over time, he actually started noticing more things to be grateful for, like little things he hadn't even seen before.
It's amazing how a physical object, the journal, can have that kind of impact.
Right, it's more than just the words, it's the whole experience.
Totally.
But I guess the tough part is making it a habit, right?
Yeah, that's always a challenge.
Because, sometimes that inner critic comes out and tells you you're doing it wrong, or you just stare at the blank page and freeze up.
Or you just can't find the time. Life gets busy.
All of that, yeah.
But the good news is the Listallion page actually has some advice for dealing with those roadblocks.
Really? What do they say?
Well, they talk about using guided prompts, which I think is huge.
Prompts, oh yeah.
Because prompts give you a starting point, you know? You don't have to come up with something profound right off the bat.
So instead of staring at a blank page, you have a little direction.
Exactly. They have some great examples like, what is one thing you're grateful for today? Or describe a recent challenge you overcame.
Oh, I like that one.
Right. Or even just, what small act of kindness did you witness or perform today?
Okay, so those prompts help you get started, but then you still have to, actually do it.
And for that, they really emphasize finding a consistent time to journal, like making it a part of your routine.
Like an appointment with yourself.
Exactly. Whether it's first thing in the morning or right before bed, just find a time that works and stick to it.
Makes sense.
And you know what? This is where some of the other features of the Listallion journal come in handy.
I was just thinking that.
Because those little details actually make a big difference.
Like what?
Well, take the thick paper again, the 120 GSM.
Mm-hmm.
It's great for writing, but it also means the ink doesn't bleed through, so you can use both sides of the page without any mess.
Oh, that's so smart.
Plus, it makes the journal more durable, so it can really last.
And if you're into fountain pens or fancy inks,
Yeah,
no more bleed through is a huge deal.
totally. And then there's the numbered pages and the table of contents.
Which seem pretty basic, but I guess they make a difference.
They do, because they help you track your progress, you know?
How so?
Well, let's say you want to revisit an entry where you were feeling really grateful or where you worked through a tough problem. With numbered pages and a table of contents, you can find that entry instantly, so you can remind yourself of how far you've come.
So it's like a record of your positivity journey.
Exactly. It's like a personal archive of all your good moments and growth.
And we can't forget about the cover. That soft faux leather.
Oh, yeah. It just feels so nice in your hands.
Like it makes the whole experience more special.
Right. It's not just a plain notebook. It feels like something you want to treasure.
It adds to that feeling of a safe space for positivity, like the website talks about.
It does. It's like the design and the features are working together to create this really positive experience.
They actually have a story on the page about a teacher, Emily, who was struggling with stress. And she got a Listallion journal as a gift.
Oh, that's a good one.
And it seems like it really made a difference for her.
Yeah, it's so relatable. You know, a lot of people are dealing with those feelings of stress and overwhelm.
And it wasn't like a magic cure, but she started small, just writing down a few things she was grateful for each day.
Which is often the hardest part, to just get started.
Definitely, especially when you're not feeling great.
But she stuck with it, and she started using the lined pages, not dashed lined like the site says, to list her accomplishments and write affirmations.
So she was actively reminding herself of her strengths and building herself up.
Exactly. And over time, the journal became more than just a place to write. It became a source of joy for her, a way to reflect and manage stress.
She even used the back pocket to store little mementos like thank you notes from her students, turning the journal into this collection of positive memories.
A treasure trove of positivity.
Yeah, it makes me think of my grandma. She always kept a journal. And whenever she was going through a rough patch, she would pull it out and read through old entries.
Ah,
It was like comfort food for her soul, you know?
I love that.
She didn't have all the fancy features like the Listallion, but I bet those would have made it even more powerful for her.
Totally, to easily revisit those moments of strength and joy.
So bringing it back to the tips, the Listallion page really stresses setting a regular time to journal, using those prompts we talked about, and keeping it simple.
Yeah, don't overthink it, just write.
They also talk about incorporating affirmations and going back to review past entries, which is so much easier with the numbered pages and table of content.
Right, it's all about actively engaging with your positive journey and seeing how far you've come.
At the end of the day, the whole point of positivity journaling is to cultivate mindfulness, gratitude, and emotional well-being.
It's about taking charge of your inner world, you know.
Instead of letting outside circumstances dictate how you feel.
Exactly, and they make a good point about the Listallion being a perfect companion for this because of its quality and thoughtful design.
So for anyone listening who's intrigued by this, maybe give it a try. Even those small, consistent efforts of focusing on the good can really make a difference.
It can change your whole perspective.
And with that, here's something to think about. What small positive intention could you plant in a journal today? What little seed of hope or gratitude could you nurture over time?
That's a beautiful thought to end on.
It is. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time.
See you then.